Hello and welcome into today's edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. My name is Kevin Hicks. I will be joining you today as I have every day for the last 3 weeks and every day moving forward. I am the lead beat writer for Arizona State Sun Devils and SI, and I'm so honored to provide the best, most informative, most engaging, most consistent content in the Sun Devils media sphere. It is my goal every single day to work tirelessly to get out consistently quality content for each and every one of you to consume. That's my promise. And keep an eye on me, as you can see below. Please give me a follow on X, Twitter, at khicks_21. I will be starting to attend practices very soon this summer, and we'll be getting video of practice sessions, press conferences, game footage, everything you could ever ask for. Yeah, please just give me a follow if you get a chance. All right, so today it's going to be a little bit different of a show. It's kind of in the we're kind of in the part of the off season where there's not a lot to talk about actively, I guess. It's more just reflecting or projecting or getting some spotty news here and there. But today, like I said, I want to talk about past Sun Devils that are now enjoying success in the NFL and what that means for the program now compared to where they were a few years ago. So, first, I want to start off by talking about Jayden Daniels. I know he's a complicated figure in the Arizona State sphere. I know some people still can't stand that he's finding success at the NFL level and won a Heisman Trophy. I know some people don't blame him for getting out of that toxic situation in the Herm Edwards regime. And I know some people that are in the middle. But let's just look at the facts. I've been following the Arizona State program since I was 7 years old. And it's the Herm Edwards era was the most frustrating. It was even more frustrating than the Dennis Erickson era because the Herm Edwards era actually started out with promise. The Dennis Erickson era didn't really have much promise that coincided with that hire and that tenure. But the Herm Edwards era did. He got hired for the head of the 2018 season. 2018, you go in, you're not expected to be any good, and you end up making a bowl game. You exceeded expectations instantly with the senior Manny Wilkins. And then you bring in Jayden Daniels, Brandon Ayuk in for his senior season with the program. Benjamin coming back. You have a loaded offense. And you go 8-5 in Jayden Daniels' freshman season. And that was with Rob Likens, who many considered to be the figure that held Daniels back from having an even better season. Because in 2019, that was his best season as a Sun Devil. 17 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, ran for 3 touchdowns, only averaged 3 yards a carry. For an athlete like Daniels, averaging 3 yards a carry is insane to start off. And for 2, a lot of his production was in that Oregon game. Outside of that, Rob Likens operated with Daniels as if he was a game manager over anything else, even though we knew the talent that Daniels was. So let's fast forward. Herm Edwards fires Rob Likens, brings in Zach Hill, and Zach Hill might be the most unheralded, infamous figure in the history of Arizona State football. When people look at the downfall of the program in the 2020 to 2022 era, they look at Antonio Pierce mostly. They look at Herm Edwards. They even look at the other staffers such as Prentice Gill. Zach Hill might have not committed any recruiting violations himself, but let's just call a spade a spade. He was not a very good coach at the college level, at the collegiate level. Let's just name Jayden Daniels, Rashad White, train him at the peak of his powers as a backup running back. Johnny Wilson, Elijah Badger, Ricky Pearsall, Curtis Hodges. He had so much talent to work with in the 2020 and 2021 seasons, and the offense just never took off. Daniels actually regressed in 2021. You can look at Daniels' tape in 2021 and say that he was around the same, but statistically, he just fell off a cliff pretty much across the board. And Rashad White was really the saving grace of that team. That team had 10 to 11 win talent, and they won 8 games. And now it's all vacated because of the recruiting violations. So if you look back at Jayden Daniels' time at Arizona State, there was so much promise there. The talent was always there, and he was never the issue. I think that all the circumstantial evidence and what's happened since just points to the fact that he was stunted at Arizona State, and making the move to LSU was the right move for his career. I believe that if he had stayed at Arizona State for the 2022 season, that he would have been a day 3 draft pick. He wouldn't have been the number 2 overall pick. Once he got to LSU, took him a little time to ease in his first season as a starter, but he had a pretty much pound for pound um, same statistical season that he did as a freshman at ASU. And then his second season at LSU as a senior, he wins the Heisman Trophy. And if his defense was a little bit better, you could argue that he would have been a national champion just like Joe Burrow was. 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, one of the highest passer ratings in a single college season on record, 10 rushing touchdowns, over 1,100 rushing yards. He accounted for almost 5,000 yards. That is absolutely absurd. And anyone who paid attention to him throughout his recruiting process going into Arizona State in 2019 knew that he had that kind of talent. It was never deniable that he could do that. Now, at the NFL level, nearly led a franchise that has been maligned for the last 2 decades to the Super Bowl as a rookie with a roster that's like middle of the pack in the NFL talent wise. That's absolutely absurd. And I think that a lot of ASU fans can acknowledge that he really had that in him the whole time, and they can swallow their pride and admit that it was the right move for his career to move to LSU. It doesn't make it sting any less because it reminds fans what could have been in that era. But now that the program is in a much better place under Kenny Dillingham, now Kenny Dillingham has his signature quarterback that's going to define his career at Arizona State and Sam Leavitt. I feel like it's a lot easier for people to sit back and reflect and acknowledge that a team that had that much talent on offense was probably held back by coaching more than the players. I think that sometimes topics such as that get oversimplified, but I don't believe that's the case here. And now as we look towards other Sun Devils in pro roles, so Chase Lucas, Brandon Ayuk, and Ricky Pearsall are all in San Francisco right now playing for the 49ers. Ayuk seems to be close to returning from a serious knee injury from last season, according to Niners GM John Lynch. So that's a positive development because Ayuk was special in the 2023 season. And it's good to see a Sun Devil receiver succeeding at the NFL level. Rashad White's returning for season number 4 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's likely going to be the backup to Bucky Irving this year, but he's still going to get volume in the pass catching game. He's still going to get some carries, maybe not as high a volume as in previous seasons, but he's still a quality player. DJ Davidson and Cam Scattaboo in New York playing for the Giants. Sun Devil fans are going to have Giants games circled on their calendars because Scattaboo is bound to create that thunder and lightning duo with Tyrone Tracy. And yeah, always good to see a Sun Devil succeeding in the NFL. All right, so that's it all for today. Thank you so much for taking 10 minutes out of your day to listen to me. Support means everything to me. I couldn't do it without you all. Once again, follow me on X if you get the chance at khicks_21. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.